So this year, we're giving you the ability to save your lines and strategies for online versus.
Holy finally. Alright guys, NHL 23 is right around the corner. In this video, we're going to break down everything that was announced and revealed in the game modes deep dive. Again, if you were going to play NHL 23, make sure you subscribe to the channel for the most up-to-date news, tips, and info. Alright, let's get into the deep dive.
Welcome to the NHL 23 Game Modes Deep Dive. Let's start by talking franchise mode and the all-new custom leagues.
We're going to allow players to play with any number of teams, any number of games played, divisions, conferences, freely customize leagues to the rosters that they wanted to create or share with others. So you can select anywhere from 6 to 48 teams, as well as any number of divisions and conferences within the number of teams that you have.
So last year they gave us roster sharing, and this year they are expanding upon the customization options that we're going to have in franchise mode. These are all positives. If you wanted to run an original 6 league, you can do that. If you want to make a super league that combines all of the European league teams, you can do that too. I'm not going to lie, of all the franchise modes that are in games, this is probably one of the most unique additions. Not only that, you can choose a lot of the structure in terms of the salary cap. Again, if you wanted to go back to say the 90s when there wasn't any salary cap, you can do that too. So far so good.
If you want a 48 team, 0 conferences, and 8 divisions setup, you can do that. The original 6 where they just play each other in the league, you can do that. You'll also have the ability to turn off what the minimum cap is. So if you're creating an era from the past, you can turn off the salary cap. But now we're also giving you the granularity of what's the max cap. Dynamic schedules will let you do anything from setting the number of round-robin rounds that you want to play. You can even set the number of division games, conference games, interdivision games, interconference games, depending on your league setup. And you can set those from anywhere from 20 to 84. You can set wins from anywhere from 1 to 4 points. You can change the points for losses, or you can change the format in which the playoffs are played. You can also set whether or not the wild card standings format is enabled.
So on top of the amount of teams and how the conferences align, you can also mess around and make it so that you have the exact schedule that you are looking for. One of the things I would love to try in franchise mode is getting a true 1 versus 16. I think in a perfect world, that is how every league should be run, including the NHL. However, travel and budget obviously just makes that not an option. So in the video game, the freedom to do that is actually pretty sweet.
And we also have a new thing called the wildcard round, which allows you to have a play-in round similar to the NHL bubble back in 2020. Depending on the number of rounds you've selected, you'll be able to change the number of games played in each of those rounds. We support 1 game, 3 games, 5 games, or 7 games, as well as a 2-game aggregate. So if you want to play a 7-game series where you play the first 3 games away and then the next 4 games at home, you can do that. If you want to play an alternating schedule, we allow you to do that as well.
Okay, so just like the MLB playoffs, if you wanted a best of 7 format that had 2 games at home, 3 on the road, and then 2 games at home, you could go ahead and make that. Now, I'm not gonna lie, all these customization options are pretty cool. But for someone like myself, I prefer the more realistic thing that is the closest thing to the actual game. But for anyone that's out there that wants to do a really creative custom build for their franchise mode, all of these options you're really going to enjoy.
If you wanted to change the schedule for the AHL, you can do that. Everything you can do with the NHL schedule or playoff format or the league setup in general, you can do that. If a player this year creates a 48-team custom roster, you're able to go in and after downloading that roster sharing file, you'll go into custom leagues and then you can sub in all the teams that the player created if they're not NHL teams into franchise mode in custom leagues. And then you can recreate the league in whichever way you want to with those 48 teams. There's just so many cool things that our players did last year. We really wanted to give them the power to take the next step, having fun in franchise mode.
So this is a fantastic combination. Using a creator's roster build like Snipe and Score, who recreated eras of hockey, specific years, you can go back and again, if you wanted to remake the original 6, you can go ahead and do that. Now, I'm not gonna lie, for anyone that likes to stick to the realistic approach of being a general manager in the NHL, none of this stuff is really going to apply to you. And I gotta say, as we march towards NHL 23, it's beginning to feel more and more like everything that they put into the game is going to be cool once it's expanded upon. How awesome would all of this be if there was GM connected again? But alas, we will not be getting it in NHL 23. Sorry, guys.
Our number one focus for World of Chel this year was the implementation of cross-platform matchmaking. When it arrives in November, PlayStation and Xbox players in the same console generation will be able to play against one another across all World of Chel online modes for the first time in franchise history. And now that our matchmaking pools are essentially doubled, you'll be spending less time in the queue and more time on the ice. The early prototype is promising, and we couldn't be more excited to implement this, as well as continue to work on connecting our players as best as possible.
All right, we just got another 30 seconds dedicated to crossplay matchmaking in World of Chel, which we already know. This is starting to feel like when a YouTuber takes like a 10-second clip and like stretches it into a 6-minute video. I mean, it's okay when we do it, but come on, EA.
It's worth mentioning that cross-platform matchmaking is also completely optional and can be toggled on or off.
All right, now I anticipated this because this is how MLB worked when they implemented crossplay matchmaking, and I'm not gonna lie, if things all hit the fan and this doesn't work at all, the ability to turn it off would at least save us the ability to actually play the game until they fix it. But the bigger implication here is like, if you play on a console that has less competitive players, I'm talking specifically for Hockey Ultimate Team, and let's say you don't want to go up against the top-end players on Xbox and PlayStation during Hut Champs, you can just turn it off and only play against your player base. So I don't know how I really feel about that.
Because of the expanded matchmaking pools, we've updated our servers to better allocate to where our players are based, and added a new server aimed at helping players in the central part of North.
All right, no way around this one. That is a huge win, especially for people in the central region. Up until now, the central server was located in Ohio, which is obviously very east. So for anyone that plays in central Canada or the US, you're gonna have a much better connection because you're gonna match up on a server and play on much lower ping. So that's a huge win.
One of the largest quality of life asks we get from our community is the ability to open hockey bags faster. This year, we've added the ability to go quickly from one bag to the other, allowing you to open them at a much faster pace than ever before.
Nice little quality of life thing for my World of Chel players. No longer will you have to actually spend 15 minutes opening all of your hockey bags. It looks like you're going to be able to open them up quite quicker now in NHL 23. Side note real quick, I want to know in the comment section down below, guys, what if they just went to like a season pass format where you could just pay for like a certain outfit or certain pieces of equipment as opposed to just the randomness that they have now? I appreciate that they're all free to play, but part of me thinks that A, they're losing out on potential money, and B, the people that just want to look a certain way could look for a cost. Either way, let me know in the comment section.
We've also added a dedicated strategy screen where you can access our new and existing strategies to fine-tune your team.
I guess that's kind of cool if you don't play with 6 players, but I think that's the whole point of World of Chel. Man, they are really stretching this thing out.
You'll also find a new wide range of customization options for your team and player.
Hey, some new logos. This will go well with the customization in franchise mode as well, so that I'm pretty hype about. Some new logos finally.
Based on your feedback last year, we've tuned the preset attributes on multiple classes to ensure balance. This includes increasing the starting attributes, giving you a higher starting overall to work with. We've also added additional loadout slots, giving you more flexibility and choice from game to game.
All right, now this one I think is actually a pretty impactful change. I've never quite understood why in World of Chel they start us with like 78 overall players. I think with this adjustment, the game is going to feel a lot faster, a lot snappier. So I think this is actually a pretty good change.
We understand that having to come into NHL and set your team up for each and every game in Online Versus, that's not where the fun lies. And we want players to get into that next experience, that next game as quickly as possible. So this year, we're giving you the ability to save your lines and strategies for Online Versus. This also partners well with the new strategies that we have in the feature set for 23. And it was important to us that we get this in the game, get you into every match as quickly as possible, remove the work, and let you have the fun that you've come to NHL for.
All right, so this has been like one of the most mind-numbing complaints that we've had about NHL, and that's the ability to not save your lines and strategies in Online Versus. However, they're like 5 years too late. I'm not going to complain that they're in the game now, but the population that just plays Versus, extremely small. I mean, low-key, kind of the biggest thing that we got out of that whole sequence was the fact that JT Miller is a confirmed X Factor. There's not a lot there. It doesn't appear that we're going to get any changes to be a pro, any changes fundamentally to World of Chel, and while all the customization options in franchise mode are pretty sweet, there's still no GM connected. We've got one more deep dive to save us here, and that's Hockey Ultimate Team. Guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.